Now, continuing coverage this morning on the details and the fallout from Baltimore's Mayor Scott Brandon's deal with the BGE and the conduit system that's now been approved. The utility is proposing rate hikes for all customers, not just city residents, in its multi-year plan just filed with state regulators on Friday. Comptroller Bill Henry joining us live this morning to drill into this issue. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share what's been going on with the people of Baltimore.
Absolutely. You took quite a stand this week, standing against the conduit deal with BGE. Why?
Well, first of all, we don't know if this is a good deal or not. I have said from the very beginning that I could be open to this if it can be shown that the numbers work. No one has shown me that. We should be expecting that DOT would be providing the kind of projections and historical data to show that what BGE is offering is a good deal. We should be expecting that the consultant that we hired last fall and are paying $50,000 to study the conduit issue, we should expect that they should finish their report and present that information to residents and officials before we make any decision. But instead, this was just dropped on us a couple weeks ago and told that it had to pass before February 15th, or I'm sorry, before February 17th, when BGE was going to the Public Service Commission.
So why wasn't this put to a bid? I mean, couldn't the city possibly get a better deal? You're saying you don't know if it's a great deal. Why wasn't this put up for a bid?
As I understand it, this was an outgrowth of negotiations between BGE and the city on technically a separate matter. We had, if I can go back a little bit in time, back in 2015, the Department of Transportation came to the Board of Estimates and said, we are not collecting enough money in conduit fees from the different people who use our underground conduit. We're not collecting enough to do all of the deferred maintenance and all of the upkeep on that conduit. We need to raise our rate. Our rate was about $1 a linear foot. So the Board of Estimates voted to raise the fee to $3.33 a linear foot, which was the amount that a report had calculated was necessary. BGE and the other conduit users took the city to court, and we settled out of court in 2016 and only raised our rate to about $2 a linear foot. So we're still not collecting what we should be collecting in order to actually take care of an asset that belongs to all city residents and is probably worth hundreds of millions, if not $1 billion or more. And then while we were negotiating the extension of that out-of-court settlement and agreement, BG&E said, hey, how about this? Instead of us paying you any money directly as a fee, why don't you just let us make the capital improvements to the conduit? That way we can write it off our taxes and you get more work done.
So essentially BGE could make millions off this deal since they can charge companies for the use of the conduit.
Oh, no, they don't get to, they're not going to get to take that part over. We're still going to be charging fees to the other users, but now instead of paying us a fee, which is just money out of their pocket coming into the city so that the city can have this work done, BGE can do the work themselves and take advantage of all sorts of different tax breaks so that they will be effectively paying less money to do what is effectively about the same amount of work.
So let me get this right. Under this agreement, does the city have to pay BGE for the use of the conduit?
No.
Okay. Now, curious here, there are implications, real implications for a private company controlling the pipe system throughout the city. What are your concerns in that nature?
Well, there are a couple. First of all, right now, the city has an MBE WBE program that we do with our contracting whenever we're doing any kind of large project, in which the city sets goals and makes sure that there are certified MBE and WBE contractors to be subs on those projects, and we can require, depending on the project, a certain amount of work be set aside for those businesses. WBE businesses tend to be more local, and we're making sure that more of the city's money is being kept in the area. One of the things that will go away with this deal is we can't require BGE use our program. They have their own voluntary deal with the PSC. I can't speak to whether or not they have to do work. If you ask the administration will say that they often exceed the goals, but that's not a requirement. Whereas if it's with the city, we can hold city agencies and the contractors to making that level of work happen. There's also the issue of the city's equity law. We have a law on the books that requires the city to keep in mind when we're doing capital improvements, whether an area has been historically disinvested in or not. And so under the city's equity law, we would be required to make sure that conduit repairs are happening in neighborhoods that right now haven't seen that same level of reinvestment as other parts of the city. But if we sign this deal and BG&E is deciding where conduit repairs happen, there's no guarantee that there will be any kind of equity focus.
So this deal essentially could potentially take power away from city leaders in making sure that the communities that need to be served are served because it's now the hands of a privatized company. Okay, so do you think that the Board of Estimates needs to see a change here? This was able to move through pretty quickly. You called it rushed to cut down on power essentially from the mayor's just negotiations. I mean, what do you think?
Well, I saw that Councilman Cohen had called for the Board of Estimates to be reformed or abolished. I would say abolished would be very complicated because the Board of Estimates as a body is all through how the city runs. Numerous references in the charter. What would be very simple would be to reform the Board of Estimates by taking the two people who work for the mayor off the board and making that board an actual democratic decision-making body where the votes are just held by the three elected leaders who were all elected citywide. Ironically, we had such a charter amendment before us when the now mayor and I were both in the city council, and that charter amendment was introduced by then Council President Brandon Clark. I'm sorry, and then Council President Brandon Scott. And for whatever reason, as the sponsor, he pulled that amendment back, and we have not moved forward with it since.
I mean, voters thought they made a decision in this fight in November, but that's clearly not the case. Yeah. What is next in this fight?
What is next is exactly what's going on here. Right now, the administration is claiming that this deal has already been approved. The council president and I have continued to explain that the deal has not been approved because we did not attend last Wednesday's meeting as scheduled, and as such, they did not have quorum. They did not have the number of people there sufficient to hold a meeting, and so we continue to try to explain that this has not passed yet. It will still be on the Board of Estimates agenda at our next scheduled meeting on March 1st. By March 1st, two other things will definitely have happened. One is we will have passed the deadline that the council set for subpoenaing certain records and information from the administration when they met previously. And also the council will be having their next hearing on this matter next week. So it's possible that by the time we get to March 1st, we will have done the level of due diligence that the council president and I feel is necessary to make a final decision on this. But it is certainly not done yet.
At this point, that is not the case, though. Thank you so much, Comptroller Bill Henry. Thank you for your insight and speaking to us directly about this conduit deal.
Thank you for the opportunity. Have a good day.
Likewise. And it will be a chilly morning one, but today is going to be highs in the 60s. It is going to be a great day. Meteorologist Amy Aronson is taking a look at the next weather maker. It's moving in. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning.